Hey everyone, this is Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment, and we're back again with our series of Was This Album Really That Good? I'm rejoined again today by my good friend and fledgling OBGYN buddy, Doc. Doc, just, whenever you get a chance, you can flash your medical degree for all the fans out there, and they'll love it.
I'll flash it to the right gender, buddy.
Yeah. Doc and I have been kind of plugging along on these videos together. For the last 2 years, actually, if you think about all the videos that we've kind of done together, you and I and Rich Strickler, we've done several videos on my channel, Building the Perfect Album series. Everybody should definitely check that out and go over to Rich's channel as well and check out some of the movie videos we did as well. We did some nice top 10 things from various years, and we also did like recastings for some Hitchcock movies and Pulp Fiction and The Godfather, which I thought were really fun and interesting. So definitely check that out. But right now we're doing this this series here, and today we're probably tackling like maybe one of the more nostalgic albums, I would think, from my childhood. I mean, this album came out in 1986. It would be around the time that I started my senior year. I graduated in '87, so the puffy hair was prominent, and the different kinds of jeans and people dressing like Don Johnson from Miami Vice, all sorts of weird things going on. But this album here was kind of that album, I think, that I would call it pop metal in a way, probably made hard rock more accessible to the masses a little bit. And I'm talking about this mega hit, Slippery When Wet. The album was released, like I said, in 1986, went immediately to the top of the Billboard charts, and it stayed there 8 consecutive weeks at number one. Monumental feat for the time, because as you know, the albums in the mid 80s were just strong stuff. So the album was really perhaps maybe the best representation of hair metal from the 80s you could probably have. Made hard rock and heavy metal genre very acceptable to the masses. As I said before, sold over 12 million copies worldwide. Also went diamond in Canada, Doc, and so that's kind of cool. And that made it the 48th best-selling album of all time. This album was also noted for its inclusion of some other elements traditionally used in hard rock music, synthesizers, and the talk box. So it was very, very, very intriguing indeed. So, Doc, I always take the last word on these, but I am really curious about how this is going to go with Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet.
Yeah, this is we're the same age, Brian. So this is what year is this? 86, I think.
Yeah.
So here we are in our teen years, and this comes out. It took the music world by storm. Really, it really did.
Yeah.
It had catchy hooks. I think the hits are the hits on this album, right? Living on a Prayer. Geez, what was the other big sucker there? You Give Love a Bad Name, which is a monster song for that one too. Wanted, Dead or Alive. I think those would probably be the standards as the hits on the album. But I think this is a total product. The production on this album is really good. Hands down. It's a well-made album for the time. It is a product of the time for sure. I think. Listen, I don't think the album holds up today like 1986. I'll say that right off the bat. In fact, it's such a product of the 80s. It's not a good album now. That's my take.
Wow.
It's too, I know, it's too well put together. It's too fabricated. The whole album is just like one big, everybody and their brother. And when you go back and you listen to the album, you know the songs. Like I said, Wanted, Dead or Alive. there's different things. But when I got down to the deep dive of listening to this all the way through, I made notes on this, and I was wondering how I was going to say this stuff, but the opening track, Let It Rock. You would almost swear that that's a Deep Purple or I don't know, like a Chest Fever from the band or something. The organ that comes in at the beginning of that song is just like, it's got that Deep Purple vibe, man. And I find throughout this whole album that's pulling from Strictly within 10-year runs behind that album. Throughout this album, they're pulling from different elements of things. You know, I hear like some Trooper in there. I definitely hear Bruce Springsteen at the end.
Mhm.
I hear Ozzy's riffs on this. Raise your hands is like an Ozzy rip off. I think the whole guitar riff on that thing. The voice box is great on Living in a Prayer at the beginning, but a voice box through the whole song, man, that's a little too much. I think, man, that's like too Aerosmith, man. That's like you blew it with me there.
Right.
Like, and look, it's and that one song I just can't take, man. I don't know what that song was. Is it Sound Desire? Something like that? I don't know what it's called there. Something like that.
Hmm.
Man, what's that song? Let It Rock, You Give Love a Bad Name, Living on a Prayer. The next one in after that, whatever that one is. It's
Social Disease.
Social Disease. Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
It's almost got like a Bryan Adams vibe to it, almost in one sense to me. So, like, it was a huge album. It doesn't hold up to me, man. I have no need to listen to this. Some people, this is their favorite album. I get that. You know, and I think this is maybe age driven in some senses too, and maybe my spectrum of what I like and I don't like. But no, you and Sam just did some Pink Floyd there recently, and you guys had some 5s and 5.5s or something like that on that one, and that's probably a little too high for my liking on this one. So I'd probably like more like a 4.5 or something like that.
4.5.
Yeah, the hits are the hits.
Wow.
I gotta give the hits, but they're
Right.
not that good. They're not that good. The hits, they're just, you know, and I think he's got a problem with like talking about 6-shooters and stuff like that. You know, that guy's got a gun crazy thing on a lot of his songs. On Jovi does.
Right.
I said it's polished. I just don't think it's. And I'm not a big fan of his voice. If you want to get right down to it, either. So, but
I'm gonna
that's where I end it.
okay. I'm gonna preface with the fact that I hadn't listened to this album prior to us deciding that we were going to do this.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably I haven't listened to it since at least the early 90s. I would think. And that's, because obviously, he had some other albums come out and they did the Young Guns 2 soundtrack song there, Blaze of Glory. And my wife's a huge fan. She calls him Buns Jovi. So that's a whole nother story. But it does have a nostalgic quality. So the very first time out of the gate, I was really pleasantly surprised how many of the songs I still remembered. I mean, I remembered them. I could sing along to most of it without having to look at lyrics because I just remember cruising around in our car listening to this in the tape deck, and that was like that was the music of the era. That's what we were listening to.
Sure.
It's just what it was. I did notice when I started going back and I listened to it the second time and then a third time that my score was going down. And I'm not talking about a slow grade where you feel comfortable on your bike and you're not wobbling and your wheels aren't coming out from under you. It felt like somebody pushed Wile E. Coyote right off the cliff and tied an Acme anvil right to him, and it was going down. It's just all of a sudden by the second listen, I didn't want to hear the songs anymore. It was tapped out. The nostalgia was gone. I think it's just one of those albums where if you pulled it out once every, 10 or 15 years, is probably not going to offend me very much. But if you're going to make me listen to it, every week or every month, even maybe, then we might have an issue in any regard. I mean, I like you said, the hits are the hits. You Give Love a Bad Name was a massive. I think that song went platinum all by itself. The single went platinum all by itself. And it was interesting. The talk box was interesting on Living in a Prayer, which Sambora's work there. But like you said it well. I mean, it seemed a little overkill to have it throughout the whole song. Didn't really feel like a hard rock song at all because of that. I think it just felt like a pop song in a lot of ways. And I agree with you there. Maybe some of the other songs on there, Social Disease, again, used a little bit of most high pitched synthesizers and horns in it. So you're kind of venturing off there a little bit. Never Say Goodbye. I didn't even want to listen to that the first time around because that song was like played ad nauseum. at dances when we were like in school and at proms and things like that. So I'm like, I really didn't want to touch it. I agree with you. I think it's very much of the time. I'm not going to take anything away from the fact that it existed. However, if it's 1986, today, with all the hindsight that I had, I would much rather listen to Metallica's Master of Puppets than to listen to Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet. I would much rather listen to U2's Joshua Tree, or maybe Peter Gabriel's or something like that, rather than listen to this, because it was a big album for the hair band thing, but the hair bands were dying. They just didn't know it yet. They didn't know that 5 years from now they were going to be dead when Nirvana released Nevermind. And so for me, your score is pretty low. I thought, wow, that's coming in pretty. I'm going to give it like a 4.75. I'll give it a 5. I'll give it the 5, just because I know all the songs and there's a little bit of nostalgia. But boy, I tell you, if you ask me again, if you said, Brian, you got to listen to it one more time, and you ask me to give you another score, it might be a 3.5. So they better not push their luck.
It's nice to see where it landed there for you, buddy. That's
yeah.
I think you went 4.75 to 5 only because you thought of the song "I'd Die for You." You thought, man,
yeah,
that would have been great. Like that would have been great in Karate Kid or something like that. But it's really a heart song or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, that Without Love, that's meant for some type of teeny bopper soundtrack.
Totally, man.
The Wild in the Streets, maybe that would be a movie with Michael J. Fox in it or something. I don't know. It's this didn't do anything for me, I guess, anymore. And think about it, how massive the selling of an album that is at the time. I mean, there were so many other albums out, and to be able to still sell go diamond in that particular time frame, you got to be fortunate, I think. So
true enough. We're on the same page here, I think, brother. So that's good. Good to hear that. Nostalgic wise, otherwise,
right.
It doesn't hold up that this many years later, man. It just doesn't. Not to me.
But that's what we got, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well out there. I'm getting ready to head to Nashville for a week. So this is our last video for just, a little while here. And then by the time I get back, Doc here, he's heading across the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Where exactly are you going to start off, Doc, on your Italy trip?
Yeah, we're going to land in Milan, buddy. We're going to hit Milan first and work our way down to the bottom, at least hit Rome, and come home from there.
Right. So it'll be a few weeks before you see another video from us. I'm not sure what video it's going to be yet. We always try to collaborate as much as we can, go back and forth. But we appreciate everybody tuning in. Like, sub, and comment for this down below. Tell me your thoughts on Bon Jovi. Love them, hate them, whatever you want to say. Love, hate us, whatever you want to say.
It doesn't matter.
We appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time. All right. Bye-bye.
Peace out.